Think about it. David Easterwood is the acting director of ICE, which means he was the acting director of ICE when Renee Good was killed by ICE agents on January 7th. He was also the acting director of ICE when Alex Brady was killed on January 24th by federal agents in Minnesota. And this is someone who said to the courts that he didn't see evidence of constitutional violations by ICE agents and he blamed the protesters. However, he is one of the main people that we need to be blaming for what has happened here in Minnesota. I would love to see the county attorney investigate David Easterwood and his role and all the atrocities that he overlooked or rubber stamped on his watch. We need to know the truth. We also need to know what role did Jonathan Parnell, the lead pastor of City's Church, play in all of this. Because clearly he knew that he was harboring an ICE director in his church. That's right. Yet he claims to love Jesus Christ. Well, Jesus said, love your neighbors as you love yourselves. And our immigrant neighbors are our neighbors. We are to love our neighbors. We are to stand up for our neighbors. We are to speak truth to power for our neighbors. And we know that the louder our voices are, the more agitated the idiots in Washington become. They don't want people standing up and speaking the truth. They want us cowering in the corner. They want us being afraid. They want to raid our homes. They want to create havoc. When at the end of the day, they're the ones who need to be led away in handcuffs for their activities, their crimes, their violation of our constitutional rights, their kidnapping of innocent men, women, and children, and their terrorizing of American citizens everywhere. So with the 15 people who were arrested this morning for standing up, we have to continue to stand up for them. They put their necks on the lines. They put their bodies on the lines. They put their jobs on the line to stand up for freedom, justice, and equality. We need to be standing up for them. We need to be standing up for the Righteous 39, and we need to be standing up for the hundreds of other people still facing state and federal charges for standing up against fascism and authoritarianism. The last thing I want to say, someone sent me a clip of media person Jason DeRusha saying it's time to forgive Target. Saying, hey, New York City's pride takes money from Target. Well, we're not New York City. We are the city of Minneapolis. The place that's known for resistance. The place that's known for standing up. And Target is in our hometown, supposedly representing our values. So no, we're not going back to Target. Target drew a line in the sand when they decided to side with MAGA, authoritarianism, terrorism by ICE, and we drew a line in the sand as the people by refusing to spend our money at a company that does not align with our values. So let's continue to stand up, stand firm. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us and who fought for our freedom. Our time is now. We must continue to resist, use our voices, and don't be afraid. Stand up for what is right. All power to the people.
No Trump!
Give it up for Nekima! And let's give it up for the Righteous 38, now still facing charges. I knew some of the people arrested today. Many of the people in the crowd here today knew the folks arrested as union members, as neighbors, as friends, as family. I want to bring up Dan from MFE to speak about the members who were arrested today. And I invite everyone who's a union worker, who knows someone as a union worker, to stand in solidarity. Labor is under threat in the same way that immigrants are under a threat. We're all under threat right now. We need to stand up together. And Dan, come to the mic.
Just
want to invite anyone in MFE to come on up here and stand with me. My name is Dan. I teach 8th grade. I'm a friend to one of the people who was arrested today and a member of MFE, a comrade to most of the others who were arrested as well. We live in a topsy-turvy world. A world where the people at the top who are guilty of the most heinous crimes somehow get away with it. And then teachers who took care of kids when the federal government descended upon our city to round up people like common criminals as if they were done something wrong besides wanting to come to this country and make a better life for themselves. We took time to make sure that those families were taken care of, that they were safe, that their children got whatever education we can make happen under that duress. And this is what we get for it. We did what we could to stand up for our friends and neighbors, and we get arrested and thrown to jail for it, all to protect a pedophile in the White House. And that has to stop. Just know this, federal government, we're not going to rest until our comrades are out of this safe and sound, until that man is out on his ass. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you to all of our union comrades and labor comrades who have stood up and will continue to stand up. Many of us were brought to the streets, had our first whistle trainings from one of a few organizations, and I now want to invite Montana from MIRAC to speak and talk about their ongoing efforts to support our immigrant community.
Thank you. MIRAC, the Minnesota Immigrant Rights Action Committee, stands in unwavering solidarity with all anti-ICE protesters. Protesting is not a crime, and protesting ICE is the right thing to do. MIRAC was on the front lines with many other people and organizations and our whole community in the streets during Metro Surge because ICE does not get to come into our city and brutalize our community members without a militant and righteous fight back from the people. This is why we are continuing to fight in the streets to make Minnesota a sanctuary state. We will continue this fight, and we will continue to stand in solidarity with all who righteously fight back against ICE terror. We will stand in solidarity with every victim of political repression, and we will fight back tooth and nail until these charges are dropped and until every single ICE protester across the country's charges are dropped. We will keep fighting until we win. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. We will say it every time.
Protesting is not a crime!
Protesting is not a crime!
Protesting is not a crime!
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next person I want to call to the mic is Louise from Unidos. Unidos runs a hotline that has been supporting our immigrant neighbors from the start of Operation Metro Surge. Yeah, give it up for Louise.
Good morning. It is a sad day when an administration, when any form of government can stand and say that the right to protest, the right to stand, the right to document is something that, using their words, could be trumped up as domestic terrorism, whatever their words may be. What is happening right now, a lot of the language that they used this morning at this press conference, it's not about law enforcement. No. This is political repression. This is voter intimidation. This administration knows exactly what's coming up in the next couple of months. While we are already getting ready to train observers and get them ready for election events, results protection, and making sure that we call out misinformation, they're out here visiting places like Ohio, visiting places like Minnesota, And for what? It is exactly that. It is voter intimidation. It is political repression. It is fascism. It is authoritarianism, and we need to call it out for what it is. Today we stand here with the people that have been charged, 15 that have been charged. These are trumped up charges, and we will not stand for it. We will continue to fight. We will continue to stand tall. We will continue to hold our whistles while they continue to hold what? Guns, ammunition, military tactical gear. The reality is we are doing nothing wrong, and yes, they're going to continue to use even the language that we use. Because even now, in this press conference, they said peaceful protest is a cornerstone of this democracy. That's right, it is. And we need to make sure that we double down when we are here, when we are putting out, exactly calling out what is going on with this administration. It is because we are calling out authoritarianism for what it is, political repression. We're calling out authoritarianism for what it is. It is political repression. We will not stand down, and we will make sure that we continue to stand strong. They may want to intimidate us by visiting different locations across the country, but the reality is we know that while they're trying to strike fear on Minnesotans and every American across the country and our communities and everyone, whether we're minorities or everyone else here, the reality is we understand that this administration is afraid, and they're using every tactic in their playbook to make sure that we feel some kind of fear. But today, we stand tall, we stand in coalition, we stand in unity. Sí se puede. Now keep in mind, we experienced Metro Surge, and it was tough. And we called out corporations like Target to stand with us during Metro Surge. But now, we have a second opportunity here, and we've started engaging corporations. And we've asked them to sign the Business for Democracy Pledge. And we're asking them again, don't wait till it's too late. Target, you waited a little too late to put out a message during Metro Surge. This is your opportunity, corporations. It is your opportunity to stand with us now before there is any escalation. Please be proactive this time around before things get worse. Thank you.
No fear! Immigrants are welcome here!
Hey, no fear! Immigrants are welcome here!
No hate! No fear! Immigrants are welcome here!
Hey, no fear! Immigrants are welcome here!
No hate! 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 No fear! Immigrants are welcome here!
Amidst this escalating repression, what we must do is stand 2 feet planted down with our neighbors facing criminal repression. In the criminal punishment system, the process is the punishment. At 1:30 today, 15 of our neighbors are going to start that process. And we need to go to St. Paul and stand with them. And we need to stand with them throughout every step of this fight. These cases may go on for months, they may go on for years. And we as a community need to stand up and make sure that they are not facing this alone. That is what the state wants. The state wants people to be alone, and our antidote is standing together in solidarity. That's all we have, and it is our superpower.
Amen. That's right.
I am about to call up our final speaker from the National Lawyers Guild. Before I do, I want to make sure that everyone here knows about the National Lawyers Guild Protest Support Hotline. Woo! The hotline is there if you have a door knock by the FBI, if you or a loved one are arrested. Call, repeat after me, 612
612
444
444
2654.
2654
One more time, 612
612
444
444
2654.
2654.
To round us out, I'd like to bring up the past president of the National Lawyers Guild, Bruce Nestor. Bruce has been working tirelessly as an immigration lawyer and a criminal defense lawyer and an organizer of our group of National Lawyers Guild members for over 3 decades. 2 decades? A long time. He has represented people who are facing federal charges here, including the Righteous 39, people who face charges under 18 U.S.C. 111, and I'm certain he will continue to stand with the people facing charges today. Give it up for Bruce Nestor.
On January 28th of this year, former Attorney General Pam Bondi came to town for a propaganda show. The purpose of her propaganda show was to announce the charges against 22 people who had been arrested by ICE and released previously. And they were all trotted through this courthouse and through the courthouse in St. Paul and had their photos taken. Their photos weren't digitally altered in a demeaning and racist way the way the photo of Nekima was, but their photos were posted in this demeaning way with lies about them. And then their cases started to go through the legal system. They were defended by many of the people standing around me. We had judges that at least stood up to the false charges. Over half of those charges have already been dismissed outright. They were based on lies. They were based on false information. They were based on violation of judicial orders. And now today, 15 more people are going to go through that process. And the same thing will be true of the charges that the people are facing today.
That's right.
I was just up in the press conference held by United States Attorney Daniel Rosen. It was a propaganda show. He talked that people were being prosecuted for their acts, not their thoughts, and then recited their thoughts. Somebody posting that we need to become ungovernable. What's wrong with being ungovernable by a fascist government? And I want to be clear today, I also want to speak as a lawyer and talk about the particular legal moment that we're in and that this country is in. The announcement today is not about law enforcement. Even if you believe all the allegations made, this is the type of stuff that gets prosecuted as misdemeanors in state court, not as federal felonies with a coordinated propaganda show by the U.S. Attorney. This is not about law enforcement. This is an act of political repression. It's designed to punish and intimidate. It's designed to target the opponents of this administration based upon their thoughts and their politics, just as President Trump announced back on September 25th of 2025 when he labeled Antifa an ideological belief, wildly diverse. He labeled it a domestic terrorist organization, a designation which does not exist in law, and called for the full weight of the federal government, federal law enforcement, to target people because they had beliefs that he thought were anti-American, anti-Christian, or anti-capitalist. So that's what's happening now, and that's what Daniel Rosen, the U.S. Attorney for Minnesota, announced today. The same Daniel Rosen who saw mass resignations from his office when instead of investigating and prosecuting the murderers of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, he called for investigations of their family and friends. For the same charges that he announced today: impeding ICE, impeding the kidnapping of our neighbors, impeding the use of tear gas in our neighborhoods, impeding the breaking of windows on lawful constitutional observers. That's what they announced today. The same U.S. Attorney, Daniel Rosen, who's done nothing to hold the murderers of Alex Preddy and Renee Good to account. The same Daniel Rosen, overseeing an office that has repeatedly violated judicial orders, misrepresented law and facts in court, brought prosecutions based on lies by ICE agents, and which has been forced to dismiss the vast majority of cases it has brought to date. That's what this is about. It's about furthering a false narrative, the lies of ICE agents, and attacking the political opponents of a budding fascist government.
That's right.
We call today for the community at large and the legal community in particular to form an anti-repression task force. We as more than defending individual cases in court, as more than responding to the crises thrust upon us by the invasion of our community and by the abuse of federal law enforcement. We need to see this as a broader political act of repression that it is, and which has been going on in this community since December. I also have a message that we must share, all of us, with our state and local elected officials. Whatever you may have thought of federal law enforcement in the past, its true role is now crystal clear. Our state and local law enforcement agencies, yes, they failed to protect us during Operation Metro Surge. Yes, they facilitated the abuses of ICE. But it is time more than ever now that they're going after people based on thought, based on their political opinion, to cease all local and state cooperation with all federal law enforcement agencies. Not just ICE, not just the Department of Homeland Security, not just Homeland Security, but every federal agency is being drugged into this project of building fascism. The National Lawyers Guild has fought it since 1937. We will continue to fight it today.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jonah. At 1:30 p.m. today in St. Paul, they will have, at the federal courthouse, there will be an initial appearance. We encourage everyone to be there in support, standing in solidarity with these folks, with our neighbors. Thank you.